Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, is considered one of Europe's most beautiful cities. At first glance, it seems to have very little in common with Sydney. Ljubljana is stunning geographically. Its citizens love their long summer evenings, and there is great enjoyment of the outdoor lifestyle. Sydney-siders also share a love of the outdoor life. They have long summer evenings, courtesy of daylight saving. However, they have also had similar problems in the development of their city. Due to the process of urbanisation in the last century and the belief that a house in the suburbs was the best way to live, large urban sprawls developed. Over time, commuters were forced further and further from work, a dependence on the car emerged, with the resulting problems of pollution, traffic congestion and long commuting hours. In the early 1990s, Slovenia went from being a socialist country to one where free market forces dominated the economy. There were no planning policies at this time, and this resulted in the haphazard development in the city and surrounding municipalities. A large urban sprawl developed along with increased car usage. From the 1990s to the 2000s, there was easier access to finance and greater economic stability throughout the country. House prices rose, and along with this, there was a decline in the level of construction in the public sector. With the global financial crisis of 2008, the price of housing did fall, but unfortunately the rate of construction, both public and private, also fell. House prices began to rise again after the GFC, and as well as this, there was an emergence of the second generation of baby boomers who found themselves unable to buy into the housing market. So what were the solution to all these problems? The Spatial Development Plan was set up in 2002 and was aimed at sustainable development. It was revised in 2007 and 2010, and a separate land use plan was also instigated in 2010. Part of making the Spatial Development Plan and the Land Use Plan successful was the need to work in partnership with other organisations. It was a well thought out approach and involved joint ventures between the city and surrounding municipalities, along with major stakeholders including large employers, public and private institutions, and non-government and civic organisations. As well as the introduction of the strategic plans, a smart city philosophy was also developed. The aim behind this strategy was to internationalise Ljubljana but maintain its wonderful local identity. The Ljubljana Vision 2025 was developed. Ljubljana would nurture its history and involve all the residents. Quality of life, safety and tolerance were of the utmost importance. Traffic connections had to be modernised and land use must be efficient. From the environmental point of view, the city had to connect to the landscape, and the traffic in the centre was to be rebuilt. The 2025 vision aimed to raise environmental awareness amongst its citizens and change their habits. As a result of this approach, 93 infrastructure projects were undertaken, along with 650 investment projects. Some solutions were to be small, such as encouraging people not to drive alone, and some solutions were large, such as the creation of massive parks and the planting of thousands of trees. Overall, the priorities of Vision 2025 included such things as traffic infrastructure, construction of infill low-density multi-dwelling housing, improvements in waste management systems, and, as mentioned earlier, provision of new recreational areas. The results were outstanding, from tiny pocket parks along city roads and streets to changing the habits of local residents. By 2013, public transport had increased by 29%, and 96% of the inhabitants found themselves no further than 500 metres from the nearest public transport stop. Urban garden plots were introduced to encourage people to garden, and beehives were placed on roofs. Bicycle ranks were set up across the city at a minimal cost, and in many parts of the old city, bicycles were the only vehicles allowed. Emissions data could be accessed by all and sundry, thereby keeping citizens alert and interested in pollution levels. CO2 emissions were increasingly less each year. There were huge brownfield revitalisation projects done in business partnerships, which included office buildings, sports arenas and golf courses built on landfill. The habits of locals changed markedly in the 10 years from 2003 to 2013. Only 19% were using cars in 2013 as opposed to 47% in 2003. Due to the establishment of the Ljubljana Public Housing Fund, housing affordability increased markedly. The work that has been carried out in the city has been formally acknowledged at an international level. Ljubljana was announced European Green Capital for 2016. Sometimes smaller cities can show the big cities which way to go.